This is the Willis Twin Tower Show, right here on the Ballroom Network. We're here to rock and bring you the dirt. Tim and Jeff debating on the screen with the Podfather, although behind the scenes they say the Irish bring luck. All we know is the Packers suck. It's Friday night. Are you ready for the show? Talking about the Bears, Irish music. This thing's about to blow. You've been waiting for this night all week. It's time for the Twins to speak. So sit down in that chair. Let's give it up for the Bears.
Feels like game day, doesn't it?
Teams are all gritty, all hail the Windy City. The Twins on play, and it's time to go Super Saiyan. It's Friday night. Are you ready for the show? Talking about the Bears, Irish music. This thing's about to blow.
What's up, Bears fans? Welcome back to another edition of the Willis Twin Towers podcast. Cliff in the chat right away. You got it right, bud. FGB. Man, what a last couple days it's been for Bears fans, but we'll get into it. We'll talk about the Micah Parsons deal. We got a special guest. Let's go ahead and introduce him now. You guys will know him from Bearski Film on YouTube. He's also got his own podcast. Why don't we bring him in right now? Welcome in, Paul. Thanks for being here,
on,
buddy.
guys? Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me on. And yeah, hey, you guys look alike. That's funny. All guys with a beard, and that's it, man. If you just had a pair of glasses, we'd be twins, right? So no, but thank you guys so much for having me on. I really like your show. I love your content. I love what you guys do and talk about, and just the flow of the show. So I'm super excited to join you guys tonight and be a part of it. And I thank you sincerely.
Very humble. Thank you. Appreciate the kind words. Absolutely. So let's go ahead and attack the elephant in the room here that everybody's talking about. I think it's for lack of better wording, it's a little overblown at this point. I'll go ahead and start just by saying the Packers trading for Micah Parsons does not put them over the edge and make them a Super Bowl contender. Period. End of sentence. I don't care what the narrative is right now. Looking at their roster, it does not look like a Super Bowl roster to me. Number one, we don't even know what Jordan Love is yet. He's way too up and down for me to feel like he is a quarterback that can get them over the top. Yes, Parsons will improve their pass rush, no question about it. But when you also trade away the heart and soul of your defensive line in order to bring him in, that's a huge loss for their D-line. Whether or not the production was there for him. I can't even think of his last name. Kenny Clark. Thank you. Without Kenny Clark's leadership on that defensive line, it's going to be a huge void for them, even with Micah Parsons on this roster. And if you're serious about being a Super Bowl contending team, why do you trade away your best player in the secondary and now possibly and likely have the worst secondary in the NFC North to contend with what is believed to be the best division as far as pass catchers in football? It is a loaded division for pass catchers. So
let me just cut you off real quick because Dan's got a good point here. I mean, this goes against the grain with what Green Bay has typically done throughout the history of their franchise. Mm-hmm. He says risky move. I mean, how many Super Bowls has Dallas won with Parsons? You got a point there, Dan, but at the same time, it's like these are two different teams. Green Bay doesn't make the move with the anticipation that Micah Parsons is going to be Micah Parsons to Dallas to Green Bay, the same exact, what's the word I'm looking for? Transition, I guess. They're looking for him to transform their defense to championship mode. Now, that being said, Tim's point, he doesn't think they're there. Look, this is kind of where I go up and down a little bit. As much as I hate the Packers, guys, which we all do, they were a playoff team last year. I mean, that's all there is to it. I mean, whether or not Jordan Love played consistent football or not last year, Tim, they were a playoff team. And they were a pretty good defense. Now, you bring Micah Parsons into the equation here. he brings that pass rush over the edge. Just a dynamic guy. So I talked about this on the show last week. Micah Parsons is a generational type player. Okay. We hear that word thrown around a lot loosely. Okay. And maybe it should or shouldn't be depending on the player, but you don't see a lot of guys that fit the mold of a Micah Parsons. Okay. This guy is a phenomenal athlete for the position that he plays, an unbelievable athlete for the position that he plays. You can line him up anywhere you want along the defensive line, and he can win one-on-one anywhere. Doesn't matter who you put him up against. You can line him up against the center, over the guard, over the tackle. I don't care. He's going to win. Now, the point to be made, and we'll get this in a little bit, is he may lack in some in the run game area, in the run stop category. We'll get to that in a bit. That being said, his dynamism in the pass rush element is, you have to take that for account. Okay, there's a lot of Bears fans that are saying, okay, you see extremes from both sides. You see Bears fans saying, oh my God, it's the end of the world. We should have went and got him. Why did the Bears not do what it took to make sure they got Micah Parsons? There's an argument to be made there too. And then you have the other spectrum, which is where there's people saying, this isn't that big a deal. You know, we can scheme against that. I mean, there's ways to make sure that we can try to mitigate his presence. Okay. To me, I think it's probably somewhere in between there, right? I mean, the guy is just a great player. At the end of the day, he's going to make an impact. Now, that being said, okay, is it the end of the world? Maybe not so much. But again, it does matter. This is a great player. He's one of the best players in the league. And again, like I just said, there aren't too many guys on the planet that fit the mold of what Micah Parsons is. So, and as Aldo has on the screen here, Green Bay traded away a player known for both run stopping and pass rush ability, which could create a void in their defensive front. Now, that being said, with Kenny Clark, he's getting older. He's on the wrong side of 30 now. And he's another guy who he had a down year last year. And that being said, he was dealing with a bit of an injury. I saw an interview he had with somebody from a Dallas reporter today, and he was kind of talking about that. He had like bone spurs in his foot last year. That being said, can he get back to that form at all? I mean, I don't know. It remains to be seen. We're going to have to wait and see what this trade's going to look like. But first impressions, I mean, kind of give me you guys' thoughts on it. I mean, I initially my thought is, look, I mean, you can't sit here and say it's no big deal. We're going to be able to just scheme against this just fine. You know, whatever. It's a big deal. This guy's a great player, but at the same time, it's like it's not the end of the world. And also, if I'm the Bears, knowing what we know now in hindsight about what kind of calls Dallas was taking and what kind of offers they were taking, I don't think the Bears would have been a serious contender, whether they wanted to be or not. So there's that side of the element as well. So, I mean, what are you guys' initial thoughts on this? I don't think it's the end of the world. It is upsetting, you know, that he's in Green Bay. Obviously, I don't want to have to deal with this guy twice a year. But again, were the Bears ever really going to be in the running for this? Whether they wanted to be or not, I don't know. Because what we've heard is Dallas was looking for a player who is young, or not young, I'm sorry, somebody who is a proven player right now and draft capital. So were the Bears going to be willing to give up that? I mean, they also wanted a guy who's a defensive tackle, from what I heard. They wanted an interior run stopper. Now, could the Bears have parted with Jerron Dexter? Sure. But would they have? I don't know. And would Dallas have wanted that? Another question to be asked. So go ahead, Tim. But I just
Paul, I do want to get to Paul. But really quick, I want you guys to stew on a couple of things with this really quickly. Number one, besides Kenny Clark, they gave up 2 first-round picks. So if they don't win in 2025, or I guess it'd be 2026 or 2027, this will all be in vain, because now they have no ability to attack that position or any position in the first round. If Jordan Love ends up being a failure, now you cannot even attack that position in the first round for the next couple of years. You have no assets to get back into the first round. Second part of this, and I've been thinking about this since yesterday when it happened. This is very eerily similar to the 2018 Bears when we made a certain deal for a Khalil Mack, believing that we were a defensive end pass rusher away from being a Super Bowl contender, when in reality, we did not have the quarterback that we thought we had. Did the team have success? Absolutely. If that kick goes in and we don't double doink, is it a different run in the playoffs? Who knows? But at the same time, we saw from Trubisky in that time that he was not, in fact, the franchise quarterback we thought he was. So this is very, very similar to me. Very similar situation. I'm interested in your guys' thoughts on that.
Read that. Let me read this off real quick, Paul, and then I'll let you go. This is a great point here, Aldo. The Parsons acquisition is drawing comparisons to when the Packers signed Reggie White. I've seen Reggie White clips all over the place.
I have too.
In 1993, a move that launched Green Bay's championship trajectory in the 90s. Look, they're at different points in their careers. Reggie White was like 32, I think, when he went to Green Bay. But still, I mean, what he did in Green Bay, if Parsons does anything close to that, God, that's you would hate to see that happen as a Bears fan. That being said, I mean, the guy is a young player. They're going to find a way to make sure he's productive. So this is just something we're going to have to deal with for a while here.
You guys know the story with that Reggie White thing, right? Who was the coach for the Packers? It was Holmgren. Was it Holmgren?
Holmgren, yeah.
So Reggie White was very religious, and Holmgren called him and left him a voicemail and said, "Reggie, this is God. Sign with the Packers."
Wow.
Yeah, right. So you have not heard that.
Reggie White was super religious. I'm pretty sure he's actually like a pastor or some sort of like missionary now.
Yeah. So multiple things to address there. Okay. Let's start. Let me try and start with the beginning. So first off, did the Cowboys get better here?
It's hard to tell if they got better. They certainly didn't get better by letting go of Micah Parsons. The future, maybe.
There's no way. Micah Parsons is
in the immediate future. No.
Okay, fair, right? When it comes to salary and financials and things like that, there's plenty of things you can do to make things work. Sure, cap hell is very real, but that's only when the players don't produce to the value that you've associated with them, right? With Micah Parsons, I don't think you have to, outside of injury, I don't think you have to worry about him not being worth the money, right? So let's just take that and put it aside. You could figure out the financials. When it comes to the draft capital spent on getting him and the value, guys, I mean, you're going to spend a first-round pick just to maybe draft a Micah Parsons. You're going to spend a first-round pick to just hope to get a guy.
Like a high first.
Right?
Yes,
a high first, right? Now, I believe he was drafted 12th, 13th, 14th, something like that, but still. So an additional first-round pick on top of it and a player, like the player is great and all, he's nowhere near as impactful as Micah Parsons is going to be for any team. In my opinion, all 31 teams should have been calling just to see, because that's the type of guy he is. I do think that a player's impact on a team can vary based off the situation the team is in. Like when Myles Garrett went back to Cleveland, I was like, oh, what's the league going to do now? Cleveland's just going to keep sucking. Like, it doesn't matter. But if he would have gone to like Kansas City, yeah, everybody would be worried, right? Like, so what the Packers are trying to do, and I think it's funny, there was a comment saying that they got him just so we don't get him. Guys, I'm sorry, lay this out there, but like, they don't care about us. Dude, when you look at this division last year, what was it? 15 wins, 14 wins, and 10 wins? Lions, Vikings,
11.
Packers, 11. Okay. So say you even steal 4 wins last year, the 4 that you should have gotten. Say you beat Green Bay twice, right? So you take that first one. Say you beat the Vikings in overtime. So there's 2 division games and you split the division. Say you win the Redskins game, and say there's one more that you pick off. The Bears are at 9 wins and the Packers are still at 10?
Yep.
Yeah, so like what they're focused on is trying to get over the hump, trying to beat the Vikings, trying to beat the Lions. They went 1-5 in the division last year. They need to do better. And like a player like that can make a huge impact. You guys mentioned Khalil Mack. I'll also mention Julius Peppers. We saw the same thing play out in 2010 when we got him. I believe it was 2010. Immediate impact.
Yeah, 9 or 10, yep.
Yeah, so like, and then why would you get rid of secondary? Because, well, the secondary can benefit directly off of pass rush. There, in 2006, we had Nate Vasher get 7 interceptions. He never came close to that for the rest of his career. Why did he get 7 interceptions here? Because balls were coming out sloppy. Because the pass rush was there. It was getting to the quarterback. And so it makes it a lot easier on the corners to be able to play. And, like, honestly, like, who's guarding Justin Jefferson anyway, right? So even your best corner is still going to fail to that guy. So, yeah, what you need to do, in my opinion, when it comes to impactful positions in the NFL, number 1 is quarterback. Number 2 is defensive end. Like the impact those guys make on a game is huge. This is scary. It is good for the Packers. Now, when it comes to should we have made the move, my co-host and I, David, we brought this up in personal conversation maybe 2 years ago, and we're like, yeah, let's just whatchamacallit, let's just talk about it. Let's just entertain it is the word I'm looking for. But like, we didn't even bring it up on the show because we're like, no, it's just not realistic. Then last year we're like, hey, it's maybe a little bit more realistic. And then this year it's actually a thing, right? But the conclusion at least we came up with this year, at least I feel like, is like the Bears are still just a year away. Like if this was a year later and he's available, no doubt in my mind, you go out and you make that move. In my opinion, you have to gamble at some point, right? Like if you get stuck in mediocrity, Ryan Poles is not going to keep his job, right? So you get to a point where once you figure out some things, you have to swing for the fences, right? You're going to have to sit there and push that draft capital all in at some point and try and hit it big, because the window of opportunity in the NFL is short and small. We've seen teams like the Rams do the same exact thing, push a bunch of draft capital in, risk a lot, gamble a lot, but they won one. It was worth it. All of it was worth it. Nobody even cares about what issues they have going on. Why? Because they have a Super Bowl recently. Whereas a team like the 49ers tried the same thing, and they took the Chiefs to overtime and still lost. And it's like, dude, all of that effort, now they're going to wind up paying for it now, but you still have to try. And like where the Bears are at, I don't know if Micah Parsons does anything here. With the Caleb situation, I think there's still too many unanswered questions. I think you need to play this year out to know exactly that guy is going to be your future. And once you have that down, then you go off and try and improve the team while you have the quarterback on a rookie contract. Yeah, are the Packers all in right now? They are. So is it going to hurt them in the future? Yeah, but they're looking to win it right now. Like that's what they're thinking. This year, next year, they are acting like their window is open, and they're paying players like their window is open. They are paying Jordan Love. You know what I mean? So like, if it doesn't work out, they're going to blow up the whole thing. But like, this is their shot and they're taking it. I mean, I understand why they're functioning the way they're functioning.
Well, I mean, it is like their window right now. I agree with you. They're taking that swing right now for this year, next year. Like it's for like the foreseeable future, not for like their long term. They're taking a swing right now. And look, I applaud them for it, but at the same time, it's like, that if we want the Bears to win, we can't sit here and like be sorrowful about it. Like the Bears just got to go out and beat teams like that. That's all there is to it. At the end of the day, they got to go beat teams like that too. So, just kind of backtrack a little bit though. It's like with this Parsons thing, like to just kind of play a little bit of devil's advocate here. I mean, look, to play the side of like, if you're the Bears, right? Like why would you allow this to happen within your division? Why would you not do everything you can to go make that move? And look, I understand why people would say that, but sometimes you just don't have the ability to do so. I mean, look, at the end of the day here, what the Bears have going on right now is because of, and Aldo just had a graphic on the screen about this, because of the cap constraints, because of the cost it would have taken to get him, because of, and this is a point that I think can't be undermined here. Brad Biggs, reporter with the Chicago Tribune, you guys know he's Bears beat. He's been around for a long time now. He's been saying for a while that the Bears are very much aware of, and it has, what's the word I'm looking for? It has played a part in the moves that they have or have not made. They know how much money they've got invested in their defensive line, and Aldo had that on the screen a minute ago too. $24.5 million with Montez Sweat, $16 million with Dio Dangbo. That's $40.5 million between two rushers right there. So you have $40 million committed to your two edge guys. You bring another one in here now, and you're paying him $188 million. That is a, pardon my French, fuck ton of money to be invested in one position group. And I get the argument here. I really do. He's a great player. I'd love to have Micah Parsons, but you also have to understand the team building aspect behind this too. If that's the route they chose not to take, and that's the reason why, and it makes sense why. Like, I mean, you try to get a guy who's a great player, but at the same time, if it's gonna mar you from making the moves that you need to make in your future to be able to sustain success, especially because you have a young roster right now, you're still trying to figure out if Caleb is going to be your guy, whereas the Packers think that Jordan Love is their guy right now. So that's, to me, is like the main difference. And Tim, I don't know that I necessarily agree with you. And by the way, thank you, Maddie, for your super chat here. So he said he wants to hop on real quick to say FGB Parsons won't help. They are not one player away. That's what Tim's basically been saying.
Maddie agrees with me, and Maddie's a smart guy.
But look, I mean, whether or not that's the case or not, I don't know that they're necessarily one player away, but I will say, like, I don't think the comparison to like the Bears in 2018 is like quite there. I mean, as much as I don't necessarily like Jordan Love, he's better than Mitch Trubisky was. I mean, he just is. I mean,
that defense in Chicago was also light years better than the defense
was ridiculously good. That with Khalil Mack. So
another key difference is, do you guys remember what our record was in 2017?
That was the last
5-11.
Yeah, it was bad because it was Trestman's last year. Yeah.
No, it was John Fox's last year.
Or I'm sorry, John Fox. You're
John
right.
Fox's. So like we were still going through a rebuild and this and that, and then Ryan Pace got the job and just decided to push chips all in right away.
Yeah.
Now it did open a window of opportunity for us. We didn't take advantage of it like we should have, and then we were stuck in a hole afterwards, right? But you have to create those windows of opportunity, because if you do win that Super Bowl, guess what? Ryan Pace is still probably a GM here. Yeah. So that's how these guys look at it as far as job security goes. At least I think that's my opinion. And now from 5-11 to 12-4, like, yes, Khalil Mack made a huge impact here. Those players can make a huge impact. Dude, the Packers on paper may not be so good, but honestly, I've thought the Vikings on paper have not been very good for the last 3-4 years, and somehow they still keep getting double-digit wins. So, like, they are what they are. They got 11 wins last year, right? 10, you said 11, but like, dude, they're trying to get over the hump. Guys, the Vikings have 2 guys last year that had double-digit sacks. They still went off and added Sweat and Hargrave to that mix. Like, you can never have enough pass rush. It's just one of those things that, the more of those guys you have that create an impact, the better the entire team is and the easier it makes it for everybody else. Like I said, I understand what they're doing. And I'm not going to buy into the narrative that somehow this makes them worse by any means, or like they're going to be a shitty run defense. No, dude, putting Micah Parsons on any roster in this league helps improve that roster. I mean, that's the kind of player he is.
100%.
That's why it's worth making that move if your team's in the situation to make that move.
Both of you guys are making excellent points. I don't disagree in a lot of things that you're saying, but I also look at it like this too. Like, yes, Khalil Mack made a huge difference, but Khalil Mack was also an incredible run stopper where Micah Parsons ain't that. And can we say that he's probably as good, if not better, than prime Khalil Mack as a pass rusher? No question about that. But Khalil Mack was a better player than Micah Parsons is at this point in time.
Overall,
when Khalil Mack was in his prime, not Khalil Mack now, Khalil Mack in 2018, he was the best defense. He was a defensive player of the year for a reason.
Hairs, though, aren't you? Isn't that just splitting hairs? I mean, they're both excellent.
I mean, yeah, it is. And I am splitting hairs, but I bring that up for the reason that it does make a difference, because Micah Parsons is, for all intents and purposes, a specialist. He's an incredible specialist and the best pass rusher, or one of the top 3 pass rushers in football, but that's his game. He's a pass rusher. That's all he is. He's not much of a run defender.
Dude,
so
he's such a dynamic player.
I just said that. I'm not disagreeing with it. You're missing my point. I don't disagree with that. He is dynamic. Like, top 3. Who else are the other guys in the conversation? Myles Garrett, Trey Hendrickson, Micah Parsons. That's your guys, right? So no disagreement there.
TJ Watt. I think TJ Watt.
TJ Watt. Yep, absolutely. Especially when it comes to pressures. He's like, the percentage of pressures is crazy.
Run defense. I mean, he's very good. and so
Yes.
is Derek.
So, like,
Yes.
if you compare stats, right? Like, I'm looking at it now. 4 years, Micah Parsons, 52.5 sacks. You know how many sacks Khalil Mack had in his first 4 years?
Mack in
It
his
wasn't
first
a
four,
ton.
he was averaging like 12 and a half, I think, at the time.
Yeah, his first year was only 4. Then it was 15, 11, and 10.5. But I mean, you're talking about, 10, 11 less sacks. But, numbers are black and white. You could look at them and apply them to things, but like they won't tell you when those sacks came, because that's important too. Like
That's true.
Absolutely, it is.
In clutch moments in the fourth quarter and things like that. In my opinion, that values.
Yes,
those
but
sacks a lot more.
when there's consistency though, that kind of like that's a little different. I mean, I think what was the stat I saw? I think he and Reggie White, ironically enough, are the only two players in the history of the league have recorded at least 12 sacks in like their first 4 seasons or something. It's just some unbelievable number like that. I mean, the guy all he does is put pressure on the quarterback. And that's, in this day and age, that's what you just got to be able to do that. I mean, any team would want to have him on their team. I think Jerry Jones in his press conference said he took like calls from 16 teams, I think was what he said, if I remember correctly. But in any case, I mean, like, I'm sure, what team wouldn't want to make? I mean, obviously half the teams didn't, which is stupid. But I mean, I don't understand what teams wouldn't at least make the call to see what it would take, kind of thing, to get the guy. But alas, here we are. I mean, he ends up in Green Bay. So the thing that surprised me the most about this, and I don't want to spend any more time on this, I think we should kind of switch gears here a little bit. But the thing that really surprised me the most about this Parsons deal is like, there's 2 things. Number one is like Green Bay doesn't do this, like I said before. And number 2, this is the biggest thing to me, was that the deal that the Cowboys got for him was, to me, just very underwhelming, all things considered, especially when you compare it to the Mack deal like you just did, Tim. I mean, what was the Mack deal? I think it was Khalil Mack and a 2nd-round pick and a 7th-rounder for like 2 1s, a 3rd, and a 4th and a 5th or something like that. I mean, it was, in either case, it's way more than Dallas got for Parsons here. And that was the biggest surprise to me, because, I mean, look, run defense or not, Micah Parsons, he's got more pass rush upside than Khalil Mack does, period. End of story. That's all there is to it. So, and he's going to give you more production there 99% of the time also. So, look, that deal, I didn't get that. I didn't understand why they didn't get more for him than they did. I felt like they could have or should have gotten more.
Yeah, I mean, that's Jerry Jones. I saw a picture come across Twitter with like headshot of Jerry Jones, and it's like, we're sorry to inform you that at age 82 we found Jerry Jones still alive.
Saw it. I saw that. Look, but we can go all day about this and the Packers and this move, but the real, what's the word I'm looking for? The real indictment, I guess, is lack of a better word right now, is on Jerry Jones, because I said this last year, and Jeff, you can attest to this. I was telling everybody that as soon as they signed Dak to that extension, and then they signed CD, there was 0 chance Micah Parsons was getting signed there. And my point with the whole thing is, why would you sign those 2? Why would you lock them up knowing that you have Micah Parsons coming up, and you're going to let one of the top 3 pass rushers in the league go that you can't even find in the draft most years? This guy is, by all definitions of most people, a freaking unicorn in the NFL. You're going to let him walk to bring back Dak Prescott, who has done nothing for your organization since he's been there, except for being an above-average regular season quarterback, done nothing in the playoffs. He's been oft injured. He's missed whole seasons, huge chunks of seasons. But you signed. I understood the CeeDee Lamb signing, but the Dak signing, didn't understand. Did you really think that you were a contender in that moment when you signed Dak to an extension? I don't understand the move. Knowing that Micah Parsons was coming up, that is, to me, ill preparation and just. But from what it sounds like, Micah Parsons was not very well liked in the Dallas Cowboys organization by the reports I'm hearing. So maybe this was never an intention for them to sign him to begin with. But if that's the case, they should have traded him in the last, back in the season last year at some point where there was a desperate team looking for a guy who could have had a year and a half of control over him, and you would have gotten way more than what you just got from Green Bay. So really, the bigger indictment on all of this is Jerry Jones and all he was trying to do here was put Dallas in the headlines like he does every time. There was no reason for this to become what it was, except for he got sick of teams like the Bears being in the spotlight and not his Dallas Cowboys, which Jerry Jones, this is the way he's always been. It's always going to be this way until he's gone. So, but again, the real indictment here is not so much that the Packers ended up with him, but the fact that the Bears, or that that Jerry Jones did what he did. And real quick, guys, before we move on from this, there's a message that Aldo sent this group we're in about, it was like an AI generated message about Micah Parsons and reports on him and whatnot in his career. And there's a really interesting part in here. And it says, performance against elite opponents. While Parsons frequently dominates weaker competition, there is a perception that his production declines when facing the league's top offensive lines. Disruptive, but not always a finisher. Some scouting reports have described Parsons as a good player who is sold as a legend. While he is highly disruptive and creates pressures, he is not always as effective at finishing plays as other elite pass rushers like Myles Garrett or Nick Bosa. And this is the part that I'm getting at with this whole thing is, especially in this division, with some of the offensive lines like Detroit's, Minnesota's, Chicago's much improved. Is he going to have the same production? And does it put Green Bay over the top? And this is a big part of that conversation. If he, in fact, struggles against good offensive lines and he gets most of his production against weaker offensive lines, does this really tip the scale, move the needle for Green Bay?
Yeah, and I know you guys want to move on from this. I'm sorry, Jeff, you want to
Go for it. Speak your piece.
There is not a single team in this league that does not get better by adding Micah.
100%.
No question. I don't want to take anything away from that. No question.
And I don't want to, take anything away from it either. So we could try and knock his play with little details like that, but we said it, guys. He's a top 4 defensive end in this league, and he's gonna be a Hall of Fame player. And he definitely makes an impact.
Certainly trajectory there.
The needle. The only way this hurts the Packers is if he's hurt, and then they still have to pay him, and like something along the lines of that. And yeah, I mean, guys, why? I wanted to kind of dive into this, and I don't know if you want to transition it this way. Like, why would the Cowboys give Dak Prescott money, dude? It's one of the things that bothers me in this league. And dude, an hour is probably not long enough for us to even dive in and really get into this. But it's like this league is ran in a way where we are paying quarterbacks so much based off the situation at hand. We're paying them all like they're all Peyton Manning, yet none of them are Peyton Manning. But what is the alternative? Are you going to do what the Browns did? Get rid of Baker and then what? Like, they get rid of Dak and then what? Like, what is the answer there? The truth is, when I said the most impactful positions are quarterback and then defensive end, quarterback is so much more impactful. Like, we saw Peyton Manning leave the Colts and the Colts go 0-16. You can, Dallas is not about to go 0-16 because, or 1-15 or whatever, right? But like, they're not about to sit there and drop off that much because they lost Micah Parsons. So like, although that position is very impactful, the quarterback is the key. And like, just like when we got Khalil Mack and almost took Aaron Rodgers' leg off, he still won that game somehow. It sucks, but like, yeah, so I would definitely go all in on my quarterback first and make that a top priority if I think that this guy can potentially win at some point. Has he? No. Are there issues? Yes. But like I said, what's the alternative there then? Like, you move on from him and what are you doing? So it's a tough spot to be in. The problem is that this league has created like I said, the scenario where you have to sign these guys at some point and you have to pay them top money. But because of that, you better be damn sure that they're going to at least try and live up to that money. The thing with Jordan Love is, like, although they're paying him, that was only a 3-year deal. It's not like they really dug themselves into a deep long-term hole with that. It's big money, but the guaranteed money is not that much, and it's only, a couple of years. So we saw it here with Jay Cutler. Signed him to a 6-year deal. By the end of it, we were just looking to move on from him because he wasn't worth the money based off the situation the team was in. So, yeah, I hate it. I love what Tom Brady did. His whole time on the Patriots, you guys know he was not ever a top 10 paid quarterback.
Yep.
He was not.
He did have an incredible amount of endorsements compared to these other guys, but still, I agree with you.
Dude, his wife made more money.
His whole career.
He made $30 million for doing a 3-hour roast at the end of his career. Like, dude, if you go out there and build your career, you will get that money at the end of it. However, during that process, Bill Belichick was the coach and the GM, and they would have daily meetings, and they were on the same page. And people will tell me, well, the Patriots, they won the Super Bowl by with a field goal by 3 points. Yeah, because they could afford Adam Vinatieri. They could afford Gostkowski because the quarterback's not eating the whole salary. And if he is, he better be able to do it all on his own like Peyton Manning did.
Matty says he's friggin' sick of Green Bay. Look, Matty, if we could wipe them off the face of the earth, we probably would. But, I mean, at the end of the day, they're a rival, and the best thing we can do is just beat the fucking guys. Pardon my French.
Thank you again for your donation as well, Matty.
Yes, thank you for your donation, Matty. We really appreciate that. That's a couple of them now for you here tonight. So we do appreciate your support and your donations. Let's kind of transition a little bit here. Let's dig into the 53-man roster a little bit because we've seen a couple of changes since the initial list first came out from the team.
By the way, I don't think they're finished yet. I think there's going to be some more changes over the weekend.
There's going to be, and Greg talks about this all the time. You can elevate 2 guys from the practice squad every week. So I'm sure we'll see that happening. There's the big surprise was after the initial list came out, they cut long snapper Scott Daly and Devin Duvernay, the returner, for Jalen Jones and DeMarco Jackson, linebacker, guys as waiver claims. So when they brought them in, they had to obviously make corresponding moves, but now those guys have since been brought back to the active roster. So one got on because Austin Booker was. Let me see if I can find the tweet.
First of all, before you go on, Jeff, to explain, whenever you sign somebody off of another team's practice squad, you cannot sign them to your practice squad. You have to sign them to your 53-man roster, and then they can be moved to the practice squad afterwards. But that's why they had to put those other players on the practice squad. And you put guys that you don't fear are going to get signed elsewhere. Otherwise, that would be very foolish. That's why you don't see some of those other names moved to the practice squad. You're seeing like a long snapper because you're not concerned about another team swooping up and taking Scott Daly off your roster.
So just real quick before we kind of dig in, I kind of wanted to go a little bit by position here, but Austin Booker was placed on short-term IR, as I mentioned a minute ago. Scott Daly was brought back. Devin Duvernay was brought back, and linebacker Carl Jones was placed on waivers. So that was the corresponding move, so they could both be put on the roster. So just to kind of dig into some of the few surprises that we saw on the 53. Some people are a little surprised there were only 3 running backs kept. Travis Homer was hurt. That's part of the reason why they only kept 3. He was put on short-term IR himself. So they only have 3 running backs on the roster. That being said, they did keep a 4th one, Britton Brown, on the practice squad. So he could be a guy they potentially bring up on game day. We'll have to wait and see. But they must be happy with the special teams contributions they're getting from the guys that they're getting. And the guy I did mention a minute ago, DeMarco Jackson, he came over from New Orleans, played with Dennis Allen. He's a special teams guy. So he's expected to get a lot of special teams work with the team. So who are the big surprises to you guys, if you had any, from the initial list that's come out and where it kind of stands right now?
Well, first, real quick, I just want to mention 2 things. One, did you see how quickly they snatched Jalen Jones back up to the roster? They love that guy, and I love that guy. He's such a great special teams player. I'm kind of surprised that he wasn't offered maybe he was offered a contract, but he chose to go elsewhere. But regardless, as soon as he cleared
backup nickel too.
Yeah, and as soon as he cleared waivers, they were right onto that. They snatched him right away. But the one big surprise, and I want both of your reactions to this, the one big surprise to me is only having 3 running backs on the active roster with all the injuries. And the reason that that's kind of concerning to me is, number one, DeAndre Swift has an injury history, although played all 17 games last year. He does have an injury history. Roschon Johnson clearly has an injury history. He's missed more time on the field, or he's missed more time than he's been on the field. And Kyle Monangai is currently injured. So it's a very concerning position at this point. But before I go to you guys, I think the reasoning behind that is I think they're planning on picking somebody up off of one of these waiver moves from somebody else. I think they're looking to bolster it a little bit. I don't think you're going to see some huge name get signed, but I could see, like, for instance, Audric Estime, who has recently been cut by the Broncos, who I believe they'll probably try to re-sign to the practice squad if he's not claimed. Somebody else has mentioned Martinez, the kid or Damian Martinez, the kid from Miami this year, got drafted. I believe he got drafted by Seattle, and they're very deep at running back. So they cut him. Maybe he's a practice squad candidate for them if he clears waivers. I just feel like they're not done here. They cannot sit here on their hands. They're going to have to make a move, and I think they know that. They're not going to be able to walk into the season the way they are right now. So my guess is somebody's getting claimed off of waivers. Who that's going to be, I don't know, but I do believe it's going to happen.
Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a guy that devalues that position so much.
I think
yeah. I mean, no, some people out there make the case for drafting Ashton Genty top 10 and things like that, and it's like, dude, it's just it doesn't work, right? Like, what is Bijan Robinson doing for the Falcons right now? Like,
he's been pretty good. I can't say much about that one.
But like, as far as taking on a load, like, this isn't the football in the 80s and 90s. Like,
to be fair, there's only one player in the NFL that has elevated his team to Super Bowl contention at the running back position, and that's Saquon Barkley. He's the only one.
I mean, I would say Derrick Henry is very impactful too.
Yes.
But outside of those two guys, it's like those two and then everybody else, right? So I'm all for fresh legs. I'm all for plug and play. You know, somebody was like, why did we cut Ian Wheeler? It's like, dude, who picked up Ian Wheeler? I think he went on injured reserve anyway, but still, it's, you know, so am I super worried? No. We did wait till the 7th round to address this, even though it is a need. We had plenty of opportunities to sit there and pick up a running back in a very deep running back draft class, and we did it. And it's one of these things that bothers me, where it's like, I mentioned to you, you know, my impactful positions. My top 4 are honestly quarterback, defensive end, defensive tackle, left tackle. I mean, not necessarily in that order. I'd probably value left tackle a little higher, but like left tackle, defensive end have been band-aided.
Yeah.
Very much so by Ryan Poles. And now it's like same thing with running back. You've invested so much into this offense, yet you're going to send Caleb out there without a complete running back room. It almost kind of makes no sense. It's like you're trying to walk 2 different paths at once. You would think if you're going all in, you'd go all in. But couldn't you get a guy like Alvin Kamara for, like, I don't know, 4th round pick or something? You might have to pay him a little bit.
They've had no issue doing that in the past.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not unfixable by any means, but I think that move might come closer to the trade deadline. I think you're going to have to see what this team is for the first couple of weeks and see if it's even worth upgrading that position. I mean, dude, if you're 4-2, then yeah, I would say you make a move at running back for sure. Or you make a move at a couple different positions, but I think this team's in kind of like a wait and see mode. Like I said, there's a lot of questions still that need to be answered, or you at least need to get an idea of where things are headed before you start spending draft capital and making, different moves. But yeah, the running back position has definitely been neglected. It is worrisome that we're going into the season so thin. However, like, is it outside of possibility for just some guy to plug in there and actually produce? No, it happens all the time. So I think that's kind of what they're banking on.
Real quick before I come back to you, Jeff, real quick though. To me, it looks like the Bears thought that the running back room that they have is a lot better, or they feel a lot better about it than we do, or else they would have addressed it before the 7th round, and they would have addressed it more than once in the draft. I think they felt really good about their room with Swift and with Roschon and whoever else at that point in time. And once they got Monangai, they felt really good about that. That's my guess. I mean, otherwise, you with the other moves that you made late, I mean, you could have gotten a running back there if you wanted to with some of those other guys that you chose. So I think they feel better about the team or about that room than we do, obviously. And the left tackle room. I really think that when they drafted Ozzie Trapillo, they believed that he was the future left tackle and that you can get away with Braxton Jones for a season, or you can get away with Karan Amagaji for a season until Ozzie Trapillo is ready to be that guy. And it still could, that is a possibility still. It's wait and see, but that is a possibility at this point in time. Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, they did mention Ozzie hitting that rookie wall. Poles did in that press conference he had this week. But, I'm not going to put it past the kid to ever become something. I think, you never want to just squash the reality that the kid could still improve and become the guy, of course. But And King, you got a good point here. If the O-line has improved, the running backs will improve too. Absolutely, 100%. We talk about that all the time as football fans. Running back might be the most interchangeable position in the entire league. So when you consider that fact and you can put running backs behind great offensive lines who maybe are not in the same caliber as each other and get similar production, that should kind of tell you something. I mean, look what San Francisco did for years. They had a really good offensive line. They had injuries galore before they got Christian McCaffrey at the running back position. And they were constantly trying to figure out what they were going to do. They had like Jeff Wilson Jr. and who are some of the other guys they had back there? I mean, it was just like it was a revolving door of musical chairs they constantly had going on. And they were still getting production out of these guys every week because they had just a good situation to run behind there. So, yes, King, that's a great point. With the way our team is constructed, the way the offensive line is finally constructed now, the interior from the inside out, it's going to open up some run lanes. And Darnell Wright's still a damn good run blocker. He has his days where you're kind of wondering what the hell he's doing sometimes, but he still has his moments where when he's got it going, and he can be a damn good player. So you can run behind him. We know we can run behind Joe Thuney. We know what he is in pass pro. I just feel like this is going to be a better situation for the running back room. And look, again, you guys are kind of alluded to this a minute ago. If the staff felt like it was that big a deal to address this room, they probably would have done so, more so than they have. Now, look, a lot of us have made the argument that Travion Henderson was probably a target in the 2nd round. And maybe if he's there at 39 and the Patriots don't go that direction, maybe that's what the Bears do instead of Luther Burden. I don't know. I would assume that that's certainly possible. That being said, they didn't do anything about it until the 7th round after that. So that there is some credence to that. Now, I do think Monangai is going to be a pretty good player. I think this is such a deep class. It's part of the reason why you were able to get a guy like that in the 7th round. But yes, I mean, it all kind of depends on how things go here. I do think this room is going to be more productive than most people think it's going to be. Ben Johnson knows how to use his backs. He knew how to use DeAndre Swift when he had him in Detroit. And all he does when he talks about Swift here in the here and now is basically reap his praises on him. So it's something he doesn't have to do, but he does it anyways, because I do think that Swift is going to be a more impactful piece of this offense than people might think he's going to be. But to me, that's the biggest reason why, is because I think he's going to be more productive than we might think. But also, Monangai is going to be pretty productive too. I don't know if we can count on Roschon to stay healthy, but that's the way it's always been with him. So I don't know. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility they could still go out and get somebody. But again, like I said before, if they were really going to do something by now, I would think they'd have done it. Yeah,
you really kind of hit a nerve for me when you mentioned the Patriots there. So let me let you guys in a little bit. I'm sick of the narratives. A couple of years ago, we're in a similar situation as the Texans. And at the end of the year, they're a playoff team, and we need more time. And then, come time, we're in a similar situation with the Redskins, and Jaden Daniels takes them to the NFC Championship, and we get 5 wins, right? And the whole offseason, I was preaching for Mike Vrabel, kind of knowing that he was going to wind up on the Patriots anyway. But I said, I just want more of a for sure thing. To me, Ben Johnson's a gamble. Now, let me just lay this out there, too. Ben Johnson has impressed me extremely so far. A lot of the things that I thought would be issues are not issues. We might actually have a real coach, which is great, but I'm not going to, I was kind of erring more on the side of safety, saying, hey, I know what Mike Vrabel is. You bring that guy in here, he comes with stability and structure, and that's something this organization needs right now. But like this year, I'm looking at it, and I feel like we're in a very similar situation with the Patriots. And I'm watching the Patriots take a fucking tackle in the draft. I'm watching them take these guys that I want. Like, dude, Travion Henderson might be a really good player. And I swear, if at the end of the year they're doing good and we're still filled with excuses, whatever hair I have left is not going to be there. Like, it's just
you and us both, buddy.
So, I know, man. It's rough, but like I'm watching those two. I'm comparing the Patriots to the Bears a lot this year, and I'm going to keep doing it all year. And we've talked about it on our channel all off season, and I just find it interesting that. Man, we talk about draft strategy a lot and stuff like that too. I think the Bears have butchered some things. Like, I don't like the idea of drafting a wide receiver 3. I don't like the idea of drafting a tight end 2. To me, those are moves for the future. And then, here comes the future. But like, you watch the Vikings take Justin Jefferson, and he has 1,400 yards his first year.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's rough, man. Because like when you take a player that high, top 10, I would think you would expect immediate impact from that player and not draft a position for the future with a top 10 pick like that. And then Band-Aid over necessities like defensive end, defensive tackle, left tackle. Like those are the positions you should probably be drafting top 10. So I don't know, man. I'm really interested in how this plays out. I do think the Bears are gambling a lot. I don't know. I'm curious to ask you guys too what your season predictions are. We just did ours the other night. So I'm curious to see where you guys think this team stands this year.
I've been saying I think they're going to hover somewhere around 9 wins for quite some time now. They could exceed that expectation, or they could fall short of that. To me, I mean, it all just kind of depends on, number one, injuries are going to always play a factor, and number two, how quickly can the offense come together. I've been saying for months now, we all know that defenses early on in the season are typically ahead of offenses because offenses are so much more complicated schematically that sometimes they take a lot more cohesion from everybody around to get going properly. And, we saw the Rams last year. It took them half a season to get going. So sometimes that can be the case. I feel like if the Bears start to hit their stride I think we're going to know a lot more about the team at the bye week. Week 5, I think, is when our bye is. We're going to know a lot more about the team at that point. But I think if they can show that the offense is starting to click by halfway through the season, I think 9 wins is absolutely attainable. Yes.
I agree with that. And it's not that I believe that that's like a ceiling for them. I think that they could very well win more than 9 games.
Expectation.
But I believe anything less than 9 games would be a failure. I think they should win 9 games this year. I understand 7 wins would be an improvement, but I think 9 wins is kind of the floor. This is where it should be, somewhere around 9 wins. There's no reason this team can't win 9 games with the roster they have, with the coach that they have. I truly believe that they are a better team than a 7-win team at this point in time. And schedule early is tough, but it gets better as the season goes. And I still think that they should win on Monday Night Football against the Vikings. For all intents and purposes, J.J. McCarthy is a rookie quarterback walking into that game. He's never played a single snap in the NFL besides a preseason game last year. So that's a game that I know the defense is gonna give us everything that they can over there. That pass rush is elite. But that's a game that we should win. Our defense should take care of business against J.J. McCarthy in that offense. In week 2, I'm sorry, everybody, Detroit, there's no way that they can continue on the path that they've been on, losing those 2 coordinators. They were everything to that roster. That roster is amazing. It's an incredible roster. But scheme matters a ton. It matters big time. And great coordinators matter. We've seen it a million times. We just saw it in Buffalo 2 or 3 years ago when Brian Daboll left for New York. They promoted John Dorsey, supposed to run the same offense, and it sputtered until finally they said, okay, enough's enough after half of the season. They bring in Joe Brady to call plays, and they have taken off. Last year was Josh Allen's best season as a quarterback in the NFL with Joe Brady as the offensive coordinator. So it's a huge deal, guys. That's a big deal when you lose those two, especially those two guys who are two of the best coordinators in football. No question. They both got a head coaching job this year for a reason. So I think that's a big deal. This Green Bay thing, obviously, we've talked about that at length today. Micah Parsons is going to be an upgrade for them. But again, this is not a team that I feel like the Bears should get swept by. There's no reason they can't split a series with Green Bay. They're undefeated against Green Bay in 2025 right now, so hopefully that can continue. But again, I think 9 wins is the floor, and they can certainly do better than 9 wins this season. I don't see any reason why they can't. So it's tough to project. I don't really like to project, and I'm not going to go through and say what I think is going to happen in each game. But I do feel like 9 wins is a floor, and they should absolutely win 9 games this year. No question.
So I went back and hunted down our season predictions from last year, where I had them at 9 wins last year, and I listened to it.
We did
it's
too.
just like, man, it sounds like a fantasy compared to what actually happened. And so Let me just lay it out for you guys like this: all Detroit has to do is not fall apart. All the Vikings have to do is just do what they've been doing and pretty much stay consistent. Mm-hmm. All the Packers need to do is get a little bit better to get over the hump. What the Bears need to do is double their win total just to compete in this division.
That's true.
Which one of those is the least likely? You know what I mean? So, it's a tough hill to climb. Now, I get what you're saying, because a lot of those losses last year, you could point to very obvious reasons outside of the play on the field why those happened. A lot of coaching mistakes, a lot of dysfunction, and things like that. But, you know, dude, great coaching matters. I've seen that in the chat a lot. Great coaching does matter to an extent. I believe a great coach does not let his team sink and get 3-4 wins in a year. I believe a great coach in the playoffs can put his team over the top and get you a win when it matters most. That whole middle part, I believe a lot of coaches are capable of doing that, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, Andy Reid coached in this league for 20 years and was not able to win a Super Bowl until he got Patrick Mahomes. Andy Reid has always been a great head coach. Yep. At the end of the day, the players on the field are the guys that need to get it done. In my opinion, the way you get to 9 wins this year is Caleb needs to ball out. It's such an important year. And Jeff, I see you shaking your head. I've gotten that reaction.
No, I'm not shaking my head. I will say this. I will say this,
man, because it is a team effort. Dude, I go back to the 2010 Chargers. First in offense, first in defense, 32nd special teams. They went 9-7, missed the playoffs. Balance is important, so I get it. But, like, in my mind, it's the Caleb year. So
the only pushback I would give on that is that I don't think he has to necessarily ball out. Obviously that would help, yes, but I just think he needs to play efficient football. If he plays efficient football and he plays on time, this team will be markedly better. Now, we all know what he can do, the shit he was drafted to do, okay, because he can play off script. He can make throws that other guys can't make on the move, on the run, those kinds of things. We know he can do that. That's why he was drafted. We need to see him improve in those quarterbacking areas that people talk about all the time. Like I said, the playing on time, the getting through your progressions, getting through your reads, making sure you're doing things in a typical quarterback fashion that, is really hard to teach until you get to this level. And again, it's really, even for rookies, it's hard for a lot of rookies to get it right, get it down, okay? And some teams have better plans than other teams do for quarterbacks. Obviously, the plan for Caleb last year wasn't a great one. Ben Johnson seems to have a plan here, okay? He's got a good plan from what we've seen, and it looks like he's showing progress. I'm going to tell you guys this. Now, I don't want to, stir the pot too much or jump the cart too much or anything like that. But I think it's interesting the growth that I saw in that first preseason game that Caleb played in this year from any point we saw from him last year was enormous. It was an insane difference from anything we saw last year. So
can I do tell you my favorite play real quick? My favorite play was when they ran a screen and he threw the ball down at the dirt.
Yeah.
Like, thank you.
Started the ball
like,
because
it's not cold there. It's cold.
Live to fight another day. Exactly. 100%. So look, I think he made a lot of good decisions in that game. I think he made a lot of good decisions in both games. Now, there were some missed throws in that last one in Kansas City. I will say that. But his decision-making has looked better to me, a lot better to me. And, that's going to be a big key here. So obviously the team around him's got to play well. I think they're definitely going to lean into the run game. I think they're certainly going to lean into that. They're going to make it a big point of emphasis. They're going to take a lot of flack off his shoulders, I guess would be the word. They're going to do everything they can to allow him to be efficient, to make his life a little bit easier. They're going to scheme guys open, things like that. And I do think it's going to look a lot different than it has in a long time. So I personally do have faith and confidence in it. I mean, do you guys have any last point? We got to get out of here. We're out of time. But do you guys have any last points you want to make? We should probably check and see if there's any questions in here from the
there chat. Are. And while you're looking for that, I want to mention one thing while you're looking for that.
Go for it.
You make a great point, Paul, about the wins last year. You have to double our wins nearly in order just to compete with the other teams. There's no question. My pushback to that would be if you don't lose that Washington game, I think we're looking at a totally different season. And that was 100% on the head coach. That decision on the play before the Hail Mary. Huge mistake. And after that, then it's Tyreek Stevenson with his nonsense. Again, that's allowed by the coaching staff, though. So there were maybe not allowed, but it certainly wasn't. He felt like he could do it. He could get away with it. But my point in that is if they don't lose that Washington game, they were 4-2 before that game started. They go 5-2. Now we're talking a different thing here. So if that's the case, and say they win 9 games last year, is Matt Eberflus still your head coach? You know what I mean? So, and now you're talking about a team that's not just because then it wouldn't be to get to 10 wins this year. It's only a 1 game difference, and now you're not fighting. So. Of course, that's not what happened. So I'm speaking in a hypothetical here, but at the same time, this could be we could be looking at a totally different thing here if one thing changes from the last season, because I firmly and truly believe that Washington game is what sunk the season. That one play, not even the Hail Mary, the play before sunk the entire season.
Tim, the season before that, when we went 0-4. Or I mean, not was it? Yeah, it was the season before that when we went 0-4 after that game against the Broncos.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't see why this team would try anymore, and then they did.
Yeah,
then they got 4 turnovers against the Vikings. They got 4 turnovers against the Lions, and I was like, whoa! Like I predicted them to give up, and they didn't. Yeah, and they didn't give up until that Washington game. Like that was a long time coming, and that was just the needle that. The straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak, right? So, what we saw last year was definitely a lack of effort after that. Not a lack of talent. We saw a lack of effort from the players due to the fact that they're in a dysfunctional structure because the coaching staff was so bad. There's so many areas that need improvement on this team outside of just Caleb playing better that can improve, that should improve with the new staff that we have, to where I get how you guys get to 9 games. I'm not saying that's out of this world. I mean, I've seen people predict 11, 12 wins. To me, that's a little bit much. I look at the season as it needs to be a big stepping stone, and we need to answer a lot of questions. And it can be very positive without necessarily reaching the playoffs and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I hear you guys. You guys make great points. That's why I love your show. That's why I love your content. That's why I love what you guys do, because you're right on the money with that stuff. And if I could real quick, just last type of thought. Can I give a plug for my show?
Of course you can.
So after this tonight, I'm going to work on uploading a little video that me and Aldo were working on together. We're all musicians here. I hate this AI music. However, I'm seeing people
I don't
use it.
know.
I saw your intro. I was on another show yesterday that had members only content, and they had a song that's like members only. I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, you don't have to pay anybody to make that stuff for you, and like it does help improve. But like, I just wish they would leave the art alone. Like, have AI do my math and my fucking job for me, but let me play the songs, but here I am using it to help me make a logo, right? So but yeah, I have a video that me and Aldo were working on together that I want to post after this. And then also there is a podcast out there that focuses on like CrossFit and on health and things like that. It's called the Savant Podcast. And 2 years ago, I started getting people messaging me like, do you know that Tyson Bagent watched your video? And I was like, what? And they gave me a link to this website. And apparently Savant is a CrossFit guy and knows Tyson Bagent's dad and had Tyson on. And when he wanted to talk football with him, because those guys don't know football at all, they YouTubed a Tyson Bagent highlight video, and the only guy crazy enough to make videos on an undrafted rookie free agent quarterback on the Bears is this guy right here. So my video popped up, and they were able to show him, and I reached out to them. And then last year they did it again. They had Tyson on again, and they showed him one of my videos, and I just talked with him too. He said he's going to have him on sometime this week. And for 30 years in a row, man, I'm going to have Tyson Bagent watching my stuff, which is, to me, super cool. For our channel, like I said, we pissed off our chat the other night. I saw the viewers drop, and like, we don't care. We're just true to our nature. We're true to our conversation. We're true to who we are. I love the viewers. I love the participants. I appreciate you guys, but I love a good debate, and I will admit when I'm wrong, and I'm open to having my mind changed. That's why I entertain guys like Don Burr too, because from time to time, Don Burr has made a good point. And when he does, I will acknowledge it, right? So, like, to me, all that stuff is super cool. But then when I get situations like this, I had Brian Urlacher watch one of my videos, Tyson Bagent. To me, that stuff's going to stick around with me for the rest of my life and makes all this super worth it. So, like, the connections you make doing these podcasts, the people you meet. Aldo is a great guy. I love the fact that I have any kind of communication with him. And so I appreciate you guys. I appreciate this channel. I appreciate all the effort that you guys put into the grind, because that's what it's about. But at the end of the day, I always say, like, me and my co-hosts, we started our channel because we were having these conversations on the phone. We were talking on the phone for like 2 hours. You guys are brothers. I'm sure you've talked football your whole life. You know what I mean? My best friend is having a baby soon, a boy. What's the name? Dan Jr. And right away he's like, he's going to be a running back, SEC. Like, that's where our mind goes next. Like, dude, it's just, yeah, man, we're obsessed and we love it, and we do it all for the love. So I can tell you guys do the same thing. So yeah, man, keep on doing what you're doing. Thank you so much for even letting me be a part of it. And yeah, I appreciate the hell out of you guys. So
I appreciate that. That's very, very well, very heartwarming words you just said to us. And we appreciate that wholeheartedly. We appreciate you joining us. We've checked out your content. I'm sure others in the chat have as well. You put out great stuff, and we appreciate it. We truly do. It's been an honor having you on the show. Hopefully we'll have you again soon.
Can we each give the chat one song to listen to?
I love
give
that
me one
idea.
song. Recommend one song to me.
Love it.
Let's do it.
Break it open.
All right. I will say Pneuma, Pneuma by Tool off their newer album. Dude, that song to me is nuts. I love it. About the 9-minute mark, like all Tool songs, about the 9-minute mark, it gets really, really cool and really good. If you're a musician, you love music, check out Pneuma by Tool. That'll be my recommendation.
Ooh, I don't know if I can pick one. I'm gonna try to pick some that nobody is going to know. Go ahead, Jeff, while I think about one in particular. I've got a couple in my mind. I'm going to narrow it down to one. You
guys ever heard of the band Great White? I'm sure some of our older listeners will know the group. There's a song. They've got a song called "Rock Me." It's one of their older ones. I love that song. I just heard it the other day for the first time in like years. So if you guys haven't heard "Rock Me" by Great White, go check that one out. Yeah, it's like a stagey kind of feel. It's like a real. I don't know how to explain it. It's like a Not anything real hardcore, but it's just kind of like it'll bring you in for sure. Yeah.
You're on the spot, Tim.
I'll give you guys two. I'll give you two because I can't decide one or the other. The first one, it's a new song and a new album by a band called Sleep Theory. It's called Static. It's one of the songs that's constantly in my playlist right now. And another one is called Medicate Me by, that's two of them, Rain City Drive featuring, oh gosh, why can't I think of who the other one is now? Dayseeker, sorry. That's Medicate Me by Rain City Drive featuring Dayseeker. They're different. It's a little bit of it's like it's hard to explain. It's like metal, but not hard to explain. It's really good stuff. It's very catchy. It's in my playlist constantly. I think you guys will like those. And if you do, I've got like a bazillion songs like that I can send to you guys.
I might be bugging you on Twitter, man. We'll see. I'm going to check all those out. Thank you guys, man.
Of course. Well, we better get out of here. We appreciate you guys being here as always. If you guys don't mind, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. There's lots of great content here on the Bar Room, I should say. We have shows just about every single day here on the channel. So subscribe to the channel. Check us all out here. We're here every Friday night at 7 Central Time. We're live, guys. So come check us out every single weekend. We always try to answer your questions if you have them for us. So feel free to send us an email at willistwintowerspodcast@gmail.com. We'll answer any questions you guys have from that. And also, if you just come in live to the chat here on Friday nights, we'll do our best to address your questions here as well. So great show tonight, guys. We appreciate you as always. Paul, thanks for being here. And until next time, we'll see you guys. Bear down.
This is the journey that will never end. New and mightier foes will arise. New adventures will begin. Until then, we bid you farewell.
The Willis Twin Towers podcast is a barroom production. Jeff and Tim Willis are the producers and co-hosts. Aldo Gandia is the director and executive producer. The opening theme music was produced by Tim Willis. Any copywritten material used was under the Fair Use Act for commentary, criticism, and news reporting. This show is also available in audio-only format and can be found wherever you download podcasts. Just search for Barroom Network.